Welcome to Bowties Sometimes Cool with myself, Ashley, and Ed. Good evening, Ed.
Good evening, Ash. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. And this evening we are going to be talking about the 1969 classic, Carry On Camping.
Oh, hello.
We love Carry On Camping.
Hey, now Ed, do you know where the theme tune comes from?
What the? Oh, is it five men went to mow, one man went to mow or something?
Yeah. In preparation for this, I watched Carry On Camping. What about you, Ed, though? You've watched it, I think, recently, because it's been Christmas, isn't it? There's been lots of carries on over Christmas, yeah?
In our house, there's two things we do at Christmas: a hammer horror and a carry on. There were no hammer horrors we could find this year, so we just stuck with a carry on, and we went for Carry On Camping, which is, it's your go-to carry on. It's the one that everyone remembers. It's got so many classic scenes, pretty much the whole gang's in it. And yeah, it's up there. It sort of vies for my favourite position. That or Abroad is my favourite.
Yeah, but I think this film was fairly controversial at the time, wasn't it? I don't think it, in the sense of the some of the scenes, certainly the first scenes in the cinema. I think it got given like quite a high rating in America for nudity and what have you. I suppose maybe back in '69 it was. I don't know. Not by today's standards, I suppose.
It was, not the done thing. It was always sort of suggested before this one. This is, I think, when the full-on sort of, inverted commas, bawdy humour came in that had been sort of hinted at before, led to the more racy ones that came after, like, Carry On England and Carry On Emmanuel. This was sort of the starting point. It still had that sort of charm, though, which I think the later ones didn't. The likes, when the old gang, when your likes of Sid and Kenneth Williams and Charles Hawtrey sort of left it, it seemed to lose a lot of its charm. And this is still oozing charm.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you think about it, that particular scene at the beginning in the cinema, Sid James is sort of joking. And then you've got Bernard Bresslaw there, who's like 2 seats down in shock, like, oh, and it just being his usual, oh, what's going on type thing. Like, totally, I've never seen anything like this, totally shouted live.
All about her strict convent training, she stepped out from her tent as naked and free as nature intended.
Oh!
That's quite enough of that, thank you.
What's the matter with you?
You told us this film was all about camping.
Well, it is. Those are tents, aren't they?
Not what you're looking at.
If you're going on a camping holiday, it only makes sense you should find out what it's all about.
Well, in fact, what you're going to learn from this.
As a matter of fact, I'm making a mental note of all the equipment they got.
Yes, especially hers.
And then you've got Joan Sims. And who's the other lady in there?
Phyllis Lay.
That's the one. Yeah, and she's there. So I'm not actually sure. I think this might have been her last Carry On film, actually, that Phyllis Lay.
I'm not 100%. You put me on the spot here, but I think she might make a small cameo in Behind. But I could be completely wrong.
We'll fact
check it, because that might be somebody else who I'm thinking of who's in the early Carry On films.
You know what? Let's fact check it right now.
I'm thinking of Liz Fraser. I've got confused with Liz Fraser. I've just looked it up on. Yeah. It's Liz Fraser, who was also in the very, very early Carry Ons.
Oh, God, blimey.
Now, I'm just looking at some facts here and there. Premiered in Hull. Oh, the famous bra scene. Yeah, I forgot that was in this one. The bra scene when Barbara Windsor bra flies off. I think it was took 3 takes, I think, because they couldn't quite get it right. And it was pulled off with a fishing line, wasn't it?
And obviously you probably do, but do our listeners know about the amazing continuity area that you can't unsee?
You know what? I'm not even sure I do, actually.
Okay.
I might do when you say, but I can't think what you.
Okay, so you've got who's going in and fling and both hands fling. You watch Hattie Jakes,
yeah,
and depending when it's cutting back to Kenneth Williams or not, she's got a towel wrapped on her head, and then sometimes she hasn't, then she has, then she hasn't.
And fling and in and fling and in. Matron, take them away.
When that was filmed, this is in Core Blimey as well, which is like the drama of Sid James and Barbara Windsor's love life, really. Obviously there was a lot of people on the set at that time, including Sid James. Barbara Windsor is like Turn around, Sid. Not anyone else, just Sid James. You turn around.
He's going to do his nut.
Quiet on set, please. And turn over.
Mark it. Slate 72, take 1.
Hang on, Sydney, turn your back. Yes, you.
Why me?
Because you're not in the scene.
No, to the caterers.
Just turn round.
God's truth.
I'd like to see.
Camera's still running.
All right, can we concentrate, please?
And action.
Now, let's get those chests out. And in and out. And in and out. And in and out. And in and... Ow!
What was that?
I knew you'd turn round.
Well, I'm only flesh and blood. You're a disgrace.
Get out of my eye line.
Have you ever seen Call Blimey?
Yeah, loved it. Really loved it.
It's a good film. It's a good one. Well, it was actually adapted from a play, isn't it? A book turned into a play, turned into a thing. But Call Blimey is one of those films. It's can you call it a film? I suppose so. Yeah, 'cause it's a TV film, isn't it? I suppose.
TV movie is TV movie.
Which got criticised really by the likes of Joan Sims and Jack Douglas because they said it made Sid James look like a lech, and that wasn't who he was. Which I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm sure is correct. But on the flip side, though, Barbara Windsor did, if you like, endorse it because she actually even appears in it, doesn't she? In the final.
Yes, that really brilliant scene at the end where Samantha Spiro, it sort of dissolves when she turns around, and you just realise what an amazing performance Samantha Spiro has given.
Oh dear.
I should have called him back.
It wasn't you. It was the drink.
He could have entered his liver in the Olympics.
He had a heart attack, sweetheart. He was probably humping the ASM.
A couple of seconds, I didn't even notice it wasn't bad. It wasn't Samantha Spiro. She was that good.
No, she was fantastic. And so I suppose, well, obviously, yeah, the exact of the way that Sid James was played, I suppose you could argue either way. In terms of like the sort of the intensity of the relationship, though, I think you could probably say is fairly accurate because no one would know better than Barbara Windsor, really, truth be told, would you? So,
and there's a documentary I watched about Sid as well over Christmas on Channel 5. You know, one of those ones they've run for quite a while now. There was a Hattie Jakes one as well. Sid, the character, and Sid, the person, were nothing alike. Sid was the person was a real gentleman. You know, he wasn't anything like Sid, the lecherous womanizer that you got in the films. You know, the thing with Barbara Windsor, yeah, maybe that's factual, that we all know that happened, but he was very, very respectful to the female members of the cast.
Now, I'm just looking at some facts here and there, nothing to do with what we just spoke about, to be fair. Just looking, Carry On Camping, Harriet Potter. So that's in, who's that with? Played by Betsy Is it Betsy Marston? The Terry Scott one.
Terry Scott, yeah.
Yeah, the couple.
Peter!
Well, it says here, so she refers to herself in a later scene as Harry Potter.
Does she?
Yeah, apparently. Well, her character is Harriet Potter, but she refers to herself in a later scene as Harry Potter. That's probably when they're meeting Charles Hawtrey at some point. She probably says, "Hello, I'm Harry Potter," or something like that.
Oh, you're all wet.
Oh, don't worry about that. Peter doesn't mind a drop of water.
No, I love it.
Oh, by the way, I'm Harriet Potter, and this is my husband, Peter.
How do you do?
How do you do?
My name is Muggins, Charlie Muggins. That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. So, as a side note, we don't know whether J.K. Rowling is a Carry On film fan, but you never know. You never know.
Look, as a film, there's not a lot of stories to it. I mean, you've got different groups of people who go to a campsite on holiday, and then some hippies set up a gig in the next field, and they all decide to wreck it at the end.
Yeah, when I was watching it, I was doing sort of a time check on it, I mean, it's about 40 minutes before Sid James and that gets to the campsite, yeah? Bearing in mind it's only an hour and a half film anyway, so that's pretty much half of the film just even getting there.
But as a series of set pieces, it's fantastic because there's some of the most memorable scenes in all of Carry On. You know, possibly one of my favourite scenes in all of the Carry On films is from this one. It's where Sid and Bernie arrive at the campsite and they have that conversation with Peter Bosworth's character, Mr. Fiddler, and everything costs £1.
Yeah. Well,
or 10, whichever is greater.
What's going on?
Bernie, it's okay, Bernie, it's okay.
How much is it to be a member then?
£1. You all right then? Per person.
Each? But there's 4 of us.
Bernie, it's all right, Bernie. We don't want to argue with Mr. Fiddler. Booking fee, which is £1. Per tent. The rent. Rent in advance.
But you've had £6 out of us already.
Bernie, it's all right, Bernie. What about the rent then, Mr. Fiddler? Well, my usual charge per week. Yes, which is? £1. I know it. Per tent? Or per person, whichever's the greater. I don't know if anybody ever told you, but your name certainly suits you. Thank you.
I worked out in today's money how much Sid James spent getting into the campsite.
How much did he spend then?
Yeah, every pound 1969 money is worth £22 now.
So how much?
I think he spent something like £244 or something like that, just getting them into the campsite. But it's not to go.
Oh, God, blimey.
Have you seen? I don't know if you know off the back of this, and we'll probably put it up. I mean, they've done obviously ITV have done some fantastic restoration on the Carry On films, yeah. And one of the ones that I wanted to put, was going to show in this little episode that we're doing this week is some of the restoration work they did on it. So, should we have a look at that?
Yeah, let's have a look at that.
You the owner of this site?
No.
Where is he?
Gone for a pee.
Oh.
Here he comes now.
Excuse me.
I think this one, more than probably any other Carry On films, got the memorable theme tunes for the different characters. So you know when a certain piece of music starts playing, you know which characters you're going to see. It's like Sid and Bernie have got the... And then Hattie Jason's got the... Dun, 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 dun.
Good morning, matron. I was just explaining to the girls about last night.
Oh, please don't say anything more.
And you just... The music is as much of a character in this film as the characters, more so probably than any other Carry On film before it or since. It's the sound design is absolutely fantastic in this one.
I'm trying to think what the one is for Charles Hawtrey. That's the one. But the politics as well. I know you wanted to talk about the politics of it, which will be enlightening for me, really.
So 1969, you had the counterculture in full swing, but this was very, very much mainstream. We don't touch these horrible counterculture people. It's like, let's destroy the hippies trying to have a good time, and that's seen as a good thing. So it's incredibly, it's paradoxically, the audience it's aiming at is, for want of a better word, working class audience of the time. But its message is incredibly right wing, and that really went forward with Carry On at Your Convenience, because it basically bit the hand that fed it. Carry On at Convenience, and that was a flop because it was so rabidly right wing and anti-union. it was attacking the people that were putting, they were going to see it and putting money in their pockets. But this is the most, as well as Carry On Inconvenience, this is the most, I'd say, the most reactionary to the times, right wing one. And really, me being an old lefty, I shouldn't like it, but I absolutely love it.
So that was our chat about Carry On Camping. I hope you enjoyed it, guys. Ed, I enjoyed that one. Did you?
Absolutely love it. Cannot beat a bit of Carry On.
Absolutely not. Well, thanks for listening, guys. Until next week, bye for now.
Goodbye.